Welcome to our video on Attila the Hun, from Nomad to Emperor. In this video, we will explore the life and legacy of one of the most feared conquerors in history. Attila the Hun was a formidable leader of the Huns, a nomadic group of warriors who were known for their military prowess and their ability to strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. The Huns were skilled horsemen and fierce fighters, and under Attila's leadership, they became a dominant force in Europe and the Roman Empire in the 4th and 5th centuries AD. The origins of the Huns are shrouded in mystery, but it is believed that they may have originated from the Xiongnu people, who were a group of nomads that terrorized China during the Qin and Han dynasties. Other historians believe that the Huns may have come from Kazakhstan or other parts of Asia. The Huns first entered Western Asia around 370 AD, coming from Central Asia. They quickly conquered the Goths and the Alans, forcing many tribes to seek refuge within the Roman Empire. Over the next few years, the Huns continued to expand their territory, conquering most of the Germanic and Scythian tribes outside of the Roman Empire. The Hunnic incursions into Eastern and Central Europe in the 4th and 5th centuries AD are often seen as the initial crisis that triggered the so-called Great Migrations of barbarian tribes, leading to the fall of the Roman Empire. Attila grew up in a very different environment than most barbarian warriors. He was well educated, learning how to read and write in Gothic and Latin. He also spoke several languages, including Hunnic, Gothic, Latin, Greek, and some Persian. He was curious about different cultures and religions, and he learned from books and prisoners that he captured. He was especially interested in Roman history and law, which he studied from Roman texts and officials. Attila also learned how to fight and lead from an early age. He was trained in archery, horsemanship, and swordsmanship by his father and other Hunnic chiefs. He joined raids and battles against the Romans and other enemies of the Huns. He earned a reputation for being brave, cunning, and ruthless. He also showed a skill for diplomacy and strategy as he made alliances and deals with other rulers. Attila became the king of the Huns in 434 CE after his uncle Rugila died during a war against the Eastern Roman Empire. He inherited the kingdom with his brother Bleda, who was older and more experienced than him. The two brothers agreed to rule together, dividing their lands and duties. They also agreed to continue their uncle's war against the Romans, demanding money and land from them. However, Attila soon proved to be more ambitious and aggressive than his brother. He wanted to expand his empire and challenge the power of Rome. He also wanted to unite all the Hunnic tribes under his command. He achieved both goals by killing his rivals and enemies, including his own brother. According to some sources, Attila assassinated Bleda in 445 CE after accusing him of plotting against him. Other sources say that Bleda died of natural causes or in battle. In any case, Attila became the sole ruler of the Huns after Bleda's death. As the undisputed king of the Huns, Attila launched a series of invasions that terrified the Roman world. He attacked both parts of the empire, destroying cities and lands along the way. He fought against emperors, generals, kings, and bishops. He also befriended some of them, such as Gaiseric, the king of the Vandals in North Africa. He earned himself many names and titles, such as the Scourge of God, the King of Terror, and the Hammer of the World. The Huns were composed of various tribes that spoke different languages and had different customs. Some of these tribes were of Turkic origin, while others were of Iranian or Mongolian origin. The Huns did not have a written language, so most of what we know about them comes from Roman and Chinese sources, which often portrayed them in a negative light. The Huns were known for their skill in archery, horsemanship, and warfare. They used composite bows that could shoot arrows over long distances and penetrate armor. They rode fast and agile horses that could endure harsh conditions. They fought in loose formations that allowed them to maneuver and adapt to changing situations. The Huns wore colorful clothing made of animal skins and furs, decorated with beads, feathers, and metal ornaments. They lived in tents or wagons that could be easily moved from place to place. They followed a seasonal cycle of migration, following their herds of cattle, sheep, goats, horses, and camels. They ate mostly meat and dairy products, supplemented by grains and fruits that they obtained from trade or raiding. The Huns had a complex social structure that was based on kinship, loyalty, and merit. They were divided into clans or families that traced their ancestry to a common ancestor. Each clan had a chief who was elected by his peers or inherited his position from his father. The clans formed larger groups called tribes or nations that were led by a king or a khan. The king or khan was the supreme leader of the Huns who had authority over all matters of war and peace. He was chosen by a council of elders or warriors who recognized his ability and charisma. He was also expected to be generous and fair to his followers, rewarding them with gifts and honors for their service. The Huns had a polytheistic religion that worshipped various gods and spirits associated with nature, animals, ancestors, and fate. They believed in an afterlife where the souls of the dead would join their ancestors in a paradise called Valhalla or Elysium. They also believed in magic and divination, using omens, dreams, oracles, and shamans to communicate with the supernatural world. They performed rituals such as sacrifices, prayers, festivals, and burials to honor their gods and spirits. The Huns had a rich culture that was influenced by their interactions with other peoples and civilizations. They adopted elements from Roman, Persian, Chinese, Germanic, Gothic, Hunnic, Sarmatian, Kushan, Parthian, Scythian cultures, among others. They learned from their arts, sciences, laws, religions, languages, and customs. They also contributed to the cultural exchange by spreading their own ideas and innovations across Eurasia. Attila was a product of this diverse and dynamic culture. He was well educated in various fields of knowledge such as history, law, geography, astronomy, medicine, etc. Attila's leadership style was based on his personal qualities such as courage, intelligence, charisma, etc., as well as his cultural values such as honor, loyalty, etc. He was respected and feared by his followers and enemies alike. He was able to unite the diverse and often rivalrous Hunnic tribes under his command and lead them to victory against the mighty Roman Empire. Attila faced many challenges and threats when he became the sole king of the Huns in 445 CE. He had to deal with internal divisions and rivalries among the Hunnic clans and tribes, who often fought with each other over resources and territory. He also had to face external enemies such as the Romans, the Persians, the Goths, the Franks, and other barbarian groups who wanted to stop his expansion and influence. Attila used a combination of force and diplomacy to overcome these challenges and threats. He used his military prowess and charisma to subdue and unify the Hunnic clans and tribes under his command. He also used his intelligence and cunning to negotiate and manipulate his enemies and allies. He exploited their weaknesses, fears, ambitions, and conflicts to his advantage. He also used his wealth and generosity to reward his loyal followers and bribe his potential opponents. Attila's efforts paid off as he managed to create a powerful and unified Hunnic empire that stretched from Germany to Russia, from Scandinavia to Persia. He also established himself as a formidable adversary and a respected leader in the eyes of his contemporaries. He was able to challenge both halves of the Roman Empire, as well as other major powers in Eurasia. Attila invaded the Eastern Roman Empire twice, in 441 CE and 447 CE. He wanted to punish Emperor Theodosius II for not paying tribute and meddling in Hunnic affairs. He attacked the Balkan provinces with a huge army of Huns and allies. He sacked and burned many cities and towns, such as Philippopolis, Nisus, Serdica, etc. He also defeated a large Roman army at the Battle of Chersonesus. He reached Constantinople both times but failed to capture it. He demanded a huge ransom and more tribute from Theodosius for sparing his city. Attila turned his attention to the Western Roman Empire in 450 CE, after he received a mysterious message from Honoria, the sister of Emperor Valentinian III. Honoria was unhappy with her brother and her arranged marriage to a Roman senator. She sent a ring to Attila, asking him to rescue her and marry her. Attila interpreted this as a proposal and claimed Honoria as his bride. He also demanded half of the Western Roman Empire as her dowry. Valentinian was outraged by this and refused to accept Attila's demands. He also tried to kill Honoria, but she was saved by her mother Placidia. Attila used Honoria's message as a pretext to invade the Western Roman Empire. He crossed the Rhine River with a huge army of Huns and allies. He attacked Gaul, which was divided among various Roman and barbarian rulers. He sacked and burned many cities and towns, such as Metz, Reims, Amiens, Orleans, etc. He also fought against a coalition of Romans and Visigoths led by General Aetius and King Theodoric at the Battle of the Catalaunian Plains near Troyes. The battle was fierce and bloody, but inconclusive. Both sides suffered heavy casualties, including King Theodoric, who was killed by an arrow. Attila retreated from Gaul after the battle and invaded Italy in 452 CE. He attacked the northern provinces of Italy, which were devastated by famine and plague. He destroyed many cities and towns, such as Aquileia, Padua, Verona, etc. He also threatened to attack Rome, which was weak and vulnerable. However, Attila faced some obstacles during his invasion of Italy. He had to deal with a plague that broke out among his troops. He also had to face a diplomatic mission sent by Pope Leo I, who persuaded him to spare Rome and Italy. He also had to worry about a possible attack from the Eastern Roman Emperor Marcian, who had allied with Aetius and the Visigoths. Attila decided to withdraw his forces from Italy in 453 CE, after receiving a large payment from Valentinian. He also agreed to renounce his claim on Honoria and her dowry. He returned to his homeland in Hungary with his army and his payment.